Good morning. That's right. We found out on Thursday that we could expect this verdict. It was my understanding it would take a few months. So for a moment, I forgot that this was on the horizon, and for it to hit while Harry's here, and he's supposed to be promoting the Invictus Games. This is supposed to be a redemption tour.
Welcome back to Sussex Unmasked, your ultimate home for unfiltered royal truth and deep dive investigative analysis. Well, if you thought the drama over in Montecito couldn't possibly get any more embarrassing, you might want to hold on to your seat, because the sheer level of desperation we are witnessing right now in the year 2026 is genuinely unprecedented. Before we even dive into today's absolute bombshell, I have to give a quick nod to an incredible point raised recently in our comment section by one of our brilliant subscribers. They captured the exact sentiment that millions of us around the world are feeling right now, observing how Meghan was literally handed a life on a silver platter that most women could only dream of, only to treat it with complete contempt, acting as though she were entitled to some imaginary crown, leaving the entire world laughing at her embarrassing attempts at playing princess in the real world. That insight hits the absolute nail on the head, doesn't it? The endless demand for royal glory without a single ounce of royal duty, dignity, or sacrifice. And if you haven't subscribed to Sussex Unmasked yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications and join our growing community, so you never miss an episode where we strip away the glossy PR spin and look at the actual unvarnished facts. Because today, the chickens have officially come home to roost, and the financial reality facing Prince Harry is nothing short of an absolute catastrophe. As we sit here in 2026, looking at the legal wreckage inside the High Court of Justice in London, the bottom line is brutally simple, reputationally. Harry has suffered a total disaster. Financially, we are looking at complete Armageddon. Let us get down to brass tacks here, because the numbers being thrown around in legal circles right now are enough to make anyone's head spin. Associated Newspapers, the powerful publisher behind the Daily Mail, is officially pursuing Prince Harry for legal costs on what the court calls an indemnity basis. In plain English, that means they are demanding that Harry pay for practically every single penny they spent defending themselves against his baseless lawsuit. We are talking about an eye-watering sum of somewhere between 40 million and 50 million British pounds. When you convert that into American currency, one single legal disaster is costing Prince Harry up to $67 million. And here is the kicker. Folks, $67 million is money that Harry simply does not have, because the Montecito well has completely run dry. Think about the sheer scale of this humiliation. The Daily Mail is not just asking for costs at the end of a trial. They are actively pursuing Prince Harry for a staggering $13.3 million upfront in cash right now. Imagine standing in a court of law, claiming to be a crusade leading prince, fighting for justice, only to be slapped with a demand for over $13 million in cash, just to cover the preliminary legal bills of the newspaper you tried and failed to destroy. Harry is currently sitting completely alone in California, facing a court case disaster of historical proportions, with absolutely nobody coming to rescue him. Not his father, not his brother, not his former celebrity allies, and certainly not the Hollywood elite who used to line up to take selfies with him. What we have just uncovered about his financial standing makes every rumour you have heard over the last 6 years look like minor pocket change. I went to the High Court believing his royal blood made him completely untouchable, convinced that the judicial system would bow to his title, just as people used to do inside Buckingham Palace. Instead, he walked right into a financial meat grinder. And as we look at how he managed to burn through his entire fortune to end up in this exact spot, you have to ask yourself how a man who had everything could possibly lose it all so quickly. But if you think a $67 million legal bill is terrifying, wait until you see how Harry managed to blow through his mother's inheritance before the court case even began. Let us take a step back and think about what Prince Harry actually possessed just 6 short years ago. We are not talking about what he claims he lost in his endless stream of tearful television interviews or his ghost-written memoir. Let us look at what he actually held in his hands. He had a royal palace provided at zero cost. He had an ancient, prestigious title that opened every single door, every boardroom, and every government office across the entire globe. He had a family that hundreds of millions of people across the planet genuinely adored. He had state-funded security for life. And above all, he had the sacred name of Princess Diana, the most powerful, beloved name in modern royal history, attached to every single project he touched. He never had to worry about a single financial bill in his entire natural life. Not an electricity bill, not a mortgage payment, not private school fees for his children, not even the weekly grocery run. Not one single penny of it. Simply by virtue of being born who he was, that was his lifetime arrangement with the British nation. When Princess Diana tragically passed away in 1997, she left her younger son a personal fortune of roughly $30 million. That money was not just sitting in a standard bank account. It was carefully invested by royal trustees, quietly growing over decades to protect his future. On top of that, the Queen Mother left Harry an estimated $10 million from her private estate. To any normal, rational person on Earth, $40 million in pure cash inheritance sounds like absolute financial freedom. It means you never have to work a stressful day in your life. It means you can retire in magnificent style, travel the world, handle any catastrophic illness without a second thought, and leave a massive fortune to your children and grandchildren. Yet here we are in 2026, and Harry has completely blown through every single cent of it. $30 million from Diana gone. $10 million from the Queen Mother vanished into thin air. It is almost hard to comprehend how anyone could burn through $40 million of pure capital in such a short period, until you look at the absurd, delusional way Harry and Meghan chose to live the moment they landed in California. They bought a massive estate in Montecito, featuring 16 bathrooms, a private tennis court tea house, and sprawling grounds that require a small army of groundskeepers just to maintain. They had private luxury jets on call whenever they felt like taking a weekend trip. They hired massive round-the-clock private security teams with armoured SUVs driving around California. In fact, Canadian government records recently revealed that when Harry visited Canada, out of all the world leaders, presidents and prime ministers who visited the country, the single biggest security expense incurred by the state was Prince Harry. It sticks in the craw of taxpayers everywhere. Sources close to the couple have admitted that Harry and Meghan were driven by pure, unadulterated arrogance. They foolishly assumed that, because they were royal tens of millions of dollars in commercial brand deals, would automatically flood into their bank accounts forever. They spent money like water because they genuinely believed they were going to be Hollywood billionaires. Look at Princess Mako of Japan for a moment. When she decided to marry a commoner and leave the imperial royal family, she gave up her titles, refused her state payout, moved to New York, and chose to live a completely quiet, normal, self-funded life. She does not demand taxpayer-funded security guards when she travels because she made a mature choice. Harry and Meghan wanted the exact opposite. They wanted total private commercial profit while demanding that the public continue to fund their royal lifestyle. Every single choice that brought Harry to this financial precipice was his own deliberate decision. He was not pushed. He was not forced by the palace. He was not driven out by a media conspiracy. He actively chose to walk away from a life of total security, and then had the audacity to attack the court when they refused to subsidise his demands. There is only one other royal in living memory who threw away this much status, this publicly, and this completely, and his name is Prince Andrew. The palace is still recovering from that nightmare, but walking away from the palace was only the beginning of Harry's downfall, because what Harry did inside that London courtroom destroyed something far more valuable than any royal title. But to truly understand how he lost everything you have to look at the exact moment, his own words turned against him in front of a sitting judge. The legal battle that brought Harry to his knees was an 11-week trial involving 97 separate legal claims. Harry and 6 high-profile co-claimants, including global music legend Sir Elton John actress Elizabeth Hurley and Baroness Doreen Lawrence, decided to take Associated Newspapers to court. The allegations were extraordinarily serious, claiming that stories published by the Daily Mail over a period of 2 decades had been obtained through unlawful information gathering, phone hacking, and private investigators. Harry walked into that London courtroom believing he was an unstoppable crusader, completely convinced that his presence alone would force the press to its knees. Then came the moment that will go down in legal history as one of the most embarrassing, self-inflicted wounds ever witnessed in a British court. Harry took the witness stand, placed his hand on the Holy Bible, and swore a solemn oath to tell the truth. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. Under cross-examination by the defence counsel, Harry flatly denied ever attending a specific music festival years ago. He gave a clean, absolute denial under oath, asserting that he had never set foot at the event. The courtroom was dead silent. Then, in a moment of sheer theatrical brilliance, the legal team representing the Daily Mail calmly picked up a hardcover copy of Spare Harry's very own published memoir and read aloud the exact passage where Harry described in his own vivid words attending that exact same music festival. Let that sink in for a moment, folks. Prince Harry was caught contradicting himself under oath, not by a secret paparazzi, recording not by an anonymous palace leak, and not by a tabloid journalist. He was exposed using his own words printed in his own book, which he had sold to millions of people around the world for $30 a copy. The courtroom went completely silent. You could have heard a pin drop on the carpet. Imagine sitting in a high court of law, testifying before a senior judge, and having your own ghost-written autobiography used to prove that your sworn testimony was factually incorrect. That single moment shattered his credibility beyond repair. And then came the testimony involving Charlotte Griffiths, the respected editor-at-large for the Mail on Sunday. Harry had claimed in his legal statements that he discovered Charlotte was a journalist 2 decades ago and immediately cut off all contact with her to protect his privacy. It sounded like a noble, clean, protective story. But then Charlotte Griffiths walked into that exact same witness box, placed her hand on the Bible, and gave the judge a completely different account under oath. She revealed that far from Harry cutting her off, it was actually she who ended the friendship after becoming uncomfortable with his behaviour. She disclosed to the court that they had a lengthy friendly relationship, where she nickname-called him Mr. Mischief, and that Harry had explicitly messaged her discussing what he called movie snuggles. Here you had 2 diametrically opposed stories presented under oath. One from a prince claiming he was a vigilant guardian of his privacy, and another from a senior journalist producing detailed sworn testimony, proving they had an intimate, playful friendship. Mr. Justice Nicklin listened to 11 weeks of testimony, reviewed mountain ranges of documents, and produced a blistering definitive judgment, running to an astonishing 436 pages. His ruling was an absolute slaughterhouse for Harry's legal team. Out of 97 individual claims brought against the newspaper, the judge dismissed every single one. Not 90 claims, not 50 claims, not 10 claims. All 97 claims were completely thrown out of court. In normal civil litigation, winning or losing a few claims is standard. But having all 97 claims completely dismissed is the legal equivalent of being handed a massive parking ticket and told your case was an utter waste of judicial time. The judge made it abundantly clear that the claims were brought without sufficient evidence, relying on speculation rather than hard facts. Harry had sued the one newspaper group that had never been proven to have engaged in phone hacking, incurring the wrath of legendary editor Paul Dacre, and deeply annoying the judge by trying to litigate from the witness box. But if losing all 97 claims was a disaster, what Harry decided to do immediately after the verdict was announced turned a bad loss into an absolute financial execution. Normally, when a high-profile litigant loses a major court case, their legal advisors tell them to put out a brief, polite formal statement, expressing disappointment, respecting the court's decision, and quietly walking away to minimise financial damage. That is what any sensible, intelligent person does. But Prince Harry, driven by an unshakable sense of arrogance, decided to do the exact opposite. Before the judge's 436-page ruling was even officially released to the public, Harry's team had already drafted a fiery, aggressive joint statement alongside Baroness Doreen Lawrence. The statement was not an emotional, off-the-cuff reaction, blurted out to reporters on the courthouse steps. It was a calculated, pre-planned document written at least 24 hours in advance. In this statement, Harry and Baroness Lawrence publicly described the High Court judge's comprehensive 436-page ruling as a complete and obvious whitewash. They essentially accused a highly respected senior British judge of being corrupt, suggesting that he had deliberately covered up media wrongdoing, rather than impartially examining the evidence before him. Think about the sheer unmitigated audacity of that statement. A prince who fled to California claiming he was driven out by hatred and safety risks turned around and launched a public attack on a British judge, effectively inciting public hostility against the judicial system itself. Independent legal experts across London and California were asked to review Harry's statement, and their reactions were unanimous. Senior barristers described the statement as insolent, intemperate, and unprecedented in modern legal history, attacking a High Court judge who is actively preparing to calculate how many tens of millions of dollars you owe in legal costs is like standing in a restaurant screaming at the executive chef and insulting his family, right before he sets the price of your dinner bill. It is pure, unadulterated madness. And the legal team, representing Associated Newspapers, immediately pounced on Harry's statement with lethal precision. Under English Civil Procedure Rule 44.2, a judge has the legal authority to determine how court costs are awarded, based directly on the conduct of the parties throughout the litigation. Standard costs usually cover a reasonable percentage of the winning side's legal fees. But when a losing party exhibits bad faith belligerence or contemptuous conduct toward the court, the judge can upgrade the award to what is known as indemnity costs. Indemnity costs force the loser to pay practically every single penny. The winner spent removing the standard reasonableness filters. By calling the judge corrupt and labelling the verdict a whitewash, Harry personally handed the Daily Mail's lawyers the ultimate legal weapon to demand maximum financial penalties. The difference between standard costs and indemnity costs in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit is not a few £1,000s. It is a gap of tens of millions of dollars. Harry's uncontrollable ego literally added an estimated $20 million to his own legal bill with a single arrogant press release. But as legal analysts pored over that disastrous whitewash statement, they noticed something truly extraordinary. Out of the 7 high-profile co-claimants who had stood together at the beginning of the lawsuit, only 2 names appeared at the bottom of that statement: Prince Harry and Baroness Lawrence. 5 co-claimants completely refused to put their names on that document. And the most notable missing name of all was the man who had stood by Harry's side for his entire life, Sir Elton John. When Elton John read the draft of that statement, he immediately recognised the catastrophic legal trap Harry was walking into, and he refused point blank to sign it. But the breakdown of that specific friendship reveals a far deeper, far more painful truth about how Harry has systematically destroyed every meaningful relationship in his life. To understand why Elton John's refusal to sign that statement was such a monumental turning point, you have to look at the history between Elton and the royal family. Sir Elton John was one of Princess Diana's closest, most intimate friends in the world. When she died in 1997, Elton sat at the piano inside Westminster Abbey and performed that iconic, heartbreaking version of Candle in the Wind before an audience of billions. On that tragic day, Elton made a quiet, deeply personal pledge to look after Diana's 2 young boys, William and Harry, for the rest of his life. For nearly 3 decades, Elton honoured that promise with extraordinary generosity. Whenever Harry and Meghan needed a private escape, Elton opened his luxurious estate in the south of France to them, providing his private jet to fly them across Europe. He performed personally at Harry and Meghan's royal wedding reception. He donated generous sums of money to Archewell. In fact, as Harry revealed in his own book, Spare, it was during a holiday at Elton's French mansion that Elton and his husband, David Furnish, introduced Harry to David Sherborne, the high-profile barrister who convinced Harry to launch this aggressive legal war against Fleet Street in the first place. Elton was the original catalyst, the godfather, and the financial backbone of Harry's anti-press crusade. Fast forward to 2026, right as the legal walls were collapsing in London. Knowing that a catastrophic legal bill was about to land on his desk, Prince Harry quietly boarded a flight and flew directly to Sir Elton John's private estate in the south of France. But Harry did not fly to France to enjoy a peaceful summer holiday or reminisce about his mother. Multiple reliable sources confirm that Harry went to Elton's home to make a desperate direct plea for financial help. Harry asked Elton to provide massive financial backing for the Invictus Games and to help cover the impending multi-million-dollar High Court legal bill. Elton John's response was swift, firm, and absolute. He looked at the young prince he had protected for 30 years and said a resounding no. Sources report that Harry was utterly devastated by the refusal, feeling betrayed and abandoned. But let us look at the cold, hard reality here. Sir Elton John has written some of the most legendary songs in human history, but there is no melody on earth that can cover a £50 million legal bill caused by someone else's reckless arrogance. Elton John makes a massive continuous fortune from his catalogue, particularly his lucrative royalties from The Lion King, which provides him with an endless stream of income. Elton can afford his lifestyle. Harry, on the other hand, no longer has a main source of income. His commercial deals have dried up, his inheritance is gone, and his legal debts are spiralling out of control. Elton John realised that Harry had transformed from a noble prince, honouring his mother's memory, into a financial black hole that would swallow anyone who stood too close. The bond that Princess Diana believed would protect her son when she was gone was completely shattered by a lawsuit she would have never approved of. With Elton John shutting the door and refusing to act as his personal bank, Harry was left with only one remaining option on Earth. He had to pack his bags and travel back to Great Britain to see his estranged father, King Charles III. But what actually transpired during that meeting at Highgrove was completely different from the heartwarming story the media tried to sell us. When news first broke that Prince Harry was flying to England to visit King Charles at his Highgrove estate in Gloucestershire, the mainstream media immediately launched into a frenzy of heartwarming headlines. Royal commentators spoke about a touching father-son reconciliation. speculating about a gentle afternoon tea, where a grandfather would finally bond with the grandchildren he had been kept from for years. Words like healing, positive steps, and a new beginning were plastered across television screens. But behind those carefully constructed PR headlines lay a cold, brutal reality that the palace took extraordinary steps to manage. King Charles granted Harry a bare minimum amount of time, a brief, strictly timed encounter at Highgrove. And unlike previous private meetings, Charles ensured that Queen Camilla was present in the room throughout the entire interaction alongside formal witnesses. This was not a warm, cosy family chat over Earl Grey tea. It was a cold, highly regulated diplomatic meeting. The palace was taking zero chances. They knew that any private conversation between Harry and his father could be leaked to American media outlets within hours, or spun into another chapter for a revised paperback book. And then just days after that, Highgrove meeting took place. A massive shockwave hit the royal household. Sir Clive Alderton, the most powerful and influential aide in the royal establishment, abruptly announced his resignation. To understand the magnitude of this event, you have to realise who Sir Clive Alderton actually is. Alderton had served as the King's most trusted private secretary for over 20 years. He managed the complexities of the King's coronation, handled the delicate aftermath of Queen Elizabeth's passing, navigated the Prince Andrew crisis, and masterminded the palace's strategic response to Harry and Meghan's explosive departure in 2020. He was a master strategist who understood every single corner of the monarchy. For Sir Clive Alderton to suddenly step down, at the age of 60, a remarkably early age for a senior private secretary, right after Harry's visit to Highgrove sent shockwaves through London. Alderton had spent 2 decades keeping Harry at a careful, deliberate distance from the sovereign, acting as an impenetrable shield around King Charles. His sudden departure was no coincidence. Insiders confirmed that the timing was deeply symbolic. The palace was signalling that the era of managing Harry's endless crises was officially over. The king was closing the door, and the institutional buffer was being drawn tight. During that brief Highgrove encounter, Harry reportedly raised the issue of his ongoing legal battles and his desperate need for financial support, as well as his demands for state-funded security. King Charles looked at his younger son and delivered the exact same firm answer that Sir Elton John had given him just weeks earlier. "I am not a bank." The king made it crystal clear that royal funds and private crown wealth would not be deployed to bail Harry out of a self-inflicted legal disaster in the High Court. Immediately after leaving Highgrove, Harry proved the palace's caution entirely justified by giving an on-the-record briefing to the Daily Mirror, complaining once again about his security arrangements. But while Harry was flying across the Atlantic, desperately begging his father and celebrity friends for financial lifelines, where on earth was Meghan Markle? Throughout this entire high-stakes legal nightmare, Meghan Markle was conspicuously completely absent. She was not sitting in the London courtroom during the 11-week trial. She was not standing beside Harry outside the High Court. She did not sign her name to the explosive whitewash statement criticising Judge Nicklin. And she certainly did not join Harry on his tense, refrigerated trip to Highgrove to see King Charles. Throughout the entire destruction of Harry's legal and financial standing, Meghan was nowhere to be seen in the United Kingdom. Multiple reliable sources have confirmed that Meghan understood the catastrophic financial reality of this lawsuit as early as December 2024. She saw the astronomical legal bills piling up, recognised the immense strength of Associated Newspapers' defence, and reportedly begged Harry to settle the case out of court before it reached a trial. But Harry, driven by his personal obsession with defeating the press, flatly refused her advice and pushed forward regardless. Seeing that Harry was marching straight into a financial brick wall, Meghan executed a classic calculated retreat. She allowed Harry to take every single front-page headline, every embarrassing courtroom photograph, every ounce of public criticism, and every penny of the ultimate financial blame. While Harry was managing the most humiliating legal disaster of his life in London, Meghan was comfortably back in California attending an exclusive high society Hollywood dinner party. Among the distinguished guests at that dinner was lifestyle icon Martha Stewart, a woman who built a genuine multi-billion-dollar empire from scratch and has absolutely zero reason to make up stories. Martha Stewart later confirmed publicly that Meghan spent the evening sitting at the dinner table over glass after glass of champagne, casually telling wealthy Californians intimate private details about Harry's meeting with King Charles at Highgrove. Think about the sheer mind-boggling hypocrisy of that moment. Harry and Meghan have spent 6 long years suing news organisations, launching privacy lawsuits, and claiming that their private lives are sacred. Yet here was Meghan sitting at a celebrity dinner table in Los Angeles, blabbering about private royal conversations to roomfuls of wealthy acquaintances, before the ink on the Highgrove meeting minutes was even dry. In fact, Meghan went so far as to accidentally confirm long-standing rumours about their private real estate purchases, effectively leaking that they had bought a luxury property at the Costa Terra Golf and Ocean Club in Portugal. She dropped the private location details as if she were dropping pins on a digital map, completely destroying any lingering claim to privacy. Thousands of royal observers and financial analysts have been asking the exact same question for months now. If the money vanishes completely, how long before the marriage follows? That question becomes infinitely more urgent when you look at the absolute destruction of the one final safety net. Harry thought he had left his court insurance policy, because what we have just learned about his legal insurance policy turns a painful financial loss into absolute total ruin. Before this massive lawsuit ever set foot inside the High Court, the 7 co-claimants took out a joint litigation insurance policy, valued at £6.2 million British pounds. In simple terms, this policy was supposed to act as an emergency safety net. If they lost the case and the judge ordered them to pay the Daily Mail's legal fees, the insurance policy would kick in, covering roughly £2.5 million per claimant to soften the financial blow. It was the one buffer standing between Harry and total personal bankruptcy. Except there are 2 massive fatal problems with this safety net that almost no mainstream media outlet has properly explained. The first problem is simple arithmetic. The Daily Mail's confirmed documented legal costs for defending this case stand at an astounding £34.5 million. Even in a fantasy scenario, where the insurance company pays out every single penny of the £6.2 million policy, without argument, there is still a massive gaping shortfall of £18.3 million sitting on the table with nowhere to go. £2.5 million in insurance coverage is a drop in the ocean when you are facing a £34.5 million bill. But the second problem is infinitely worse, and it represents a total catastrophe for Harry. The insurance company is now actively preparing to void the policy, entirely refusing to pay a single penny to anyone. Under English commercial law, an insurance provider has the absolute legal right to void a policy if the policyholders breach basic terms of good faith. Legal experts have highlighted 3 specific reasons why the insurer is walking away. First, Judge Nicklin's 436-page ruling formally established that 24 major claims were brought without proper evidence, effectively ruling that the case was pursued in bad faith. Insurers do not cover bad faith litigation. If the insurance company voids the policy, Harry is left standing, completely naked, before the court, personally liable for the full unmitigated amount. And here is the absolute deadliest detail of all English civil law operates under the principle of joint and several liability. This means the Daily Mail's legal team is not required to divide the £34.5 million bill equally into 7 neat piles. They have the absolute legal right to demand the entire full amount from any single co-claimant they choose. Look at the other co-claimants. Baroness Doreen Lawrence was formally guaranteed protection by Harry, personally meaning Harry promised to cover her costs if they lost. Actress Elizabeth Hurley and Sadie Frost do not possess the liquid capital to absorb a £35 million bill. David Furnish reportedly told Harry directly, "I am not your ATM." Elton John has already said a firm no. That leaves Prince Harry as the primary high-profile target. Associated newspapers can legally demand that Harry pay the entire multi-million-dollar bill alone. Picture going out to a lavish dinner with 6 friends, where everyone orders the most expensive items on the menu. And when the waiter brings a $50,000 bill, all 6 friends quietly slip out the back door, leaving you sitting alone at the table. That is Prince Harry's reality in 2026. If you have been asking yourself why Prince Harry is not currently facing formal criminal charges for his behaviour in court, you are certainly not alone. Hundreds of thousands of citizens across Britain and America are asking the exact same question, and it deserves a direct, uncompromising answer under the laws of the United Kingdom perjury, which means intentionally making a false statement under oath in a court of law is a severe criminal offence that carries a maximum penalty of up to 7 years in a British prison. Harry sat on the witness stand in a high court, placed his hand on the Bible and swore to tell the truth. He then gave testimony regarding his attendance at a music festival that was directly factually contradicted by his own published words in Spare. He gave testimony regarding his relationship with journalist Charlotte Griffiths that was directly contradicted under sworn oath by the witness herself. These are not minor memory lapses. They are documented official court records. If an average working-class British citizen sat in a court of law and was caught contradicting their own sworn oath with their own written words, they would not be planning their next luxury vacation to Montecito. They would be facing a formal investigation by the Crown Prosecution Service. Look at the precedent set by Prince Andrew. Andrew faced catastrophic public consequences that permanently destroyed his life for conduct that never once reached a criminal court. He was stripped of his military affiliations, forced to surrender his royal patronages, removed from public life and banished from official royal duties, without a single criminal charge ever being filed against him. Yet Harry, despite launching a public war on the British judiciary and getting caught in blatant contradictions under oath, still holds his prestigious title as the Duke of Sussex. He remains listed on the official royal family website. He remains a Councillor of State, and he remains fifth in line to the throne of the United Kingdom. The tide of public and official opinion has turned completely. The Times of London, the most respected establishment newspaper in Great Britain, has officially published editorial pieces calling for Harry's royal titles to be permanently removed by Parliament. Members of Parliament are actively drafting legislation to strip him of his Councillor of State status, arguing that a man who calls a senior British judge corrupt cannot represent the Crown. Multiple senior legal figures have openly raised the perjury question on national television, stating that Harry's conduct has brought total disrepute upon the legal system itself. And building quietly in the background is the next massive legal avalanche waiting to crush what remains of his public standing, the Centre Bailor lawsuit. The very charity Harry co-founded in his mother's memory is currently suing him for defamation in that exact same High Court, with no confirmed insurance payout, no financial backing from Elton John, no money coming from King Charles, and total public silence from Meghan Markle. Harry has run completely out of road. Every single door that is closed in his face today was closed by his own hands. Every bridge that is burning was lit by his own matches. When the court's final cost order drops, Sussex Unmasked will be right here to break down every single line of the judgment the second it lands. Make sure you click on the videos appearing on your screen right now to catch up on every single detail you need to know about this ongoing saga. Subscribe to the channel, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and we will see you in the very next episode.